Hi guys, today I'm going to review Rowley Jefferson's awesome friendly stories. Guys, okay, now let's go into this. Rowley's imagination. Awesome, it's not spooky stories, awesome friendly spooky stories. Greg is a zombie. Okay, spooky stories. There are a lot. Changing the prankster, ghost friend, bite, the biter, the human head, the scanner, the seller, the nap, the stain, a mummy, a science project, a medicine cabinet, and the invasion, the demon. Let's read. Whoa! That's a reader beware! Boo! Did that scare you? If it made me, you should put this book down and pick something else that's a little less scary. There are some good books about unicorns and puppies and other happy things that you can read until you are ready for a book like this. But if you like stories about skeletons and zombies and human heads, then crawl under the covers and turn the page. And if you get to stare, then you can always sleep in your parents' bed. But please don't tell them the reason you got spooked, because I really don't want them to be mad at me. I warned you. Number 1. The Changing. There once was a boy named Rowan, and Rowan was a happy child. He had 2 parents who loved him very much, and he had lots of toys to play with. Sometimes Rowan would bring his toys to school and play with them at recess, but he stopped doing that after he got bullied by some jerks. Grow up, you baby! That made Rowan so sad because he thought playing with toys was the best thing about being a kid. But Rowan's classmates didn't feel the same way, as they were always trying to act old, and they were always trying to act older than they really were. One day Rowan was in class. He felt a strange tickling sensation under his armpit. He didn't know what it was. He asked his teacher, Mrs. Pennington, if he could please be excused to use the restroom. When Rowan got to the restroom, he took off his shirt and he was shocked to see a single hair growing from the center of his armpit. Rowan didn't know what to do, so he put his shirt back on and returned to his class. And when he sat down, he felt like everyone in the classroom could tell something was different about him, even Mrs. Pennington. The final bell rang. Rowan ran all the way home. He knew his mother kept some tweezers in the bathroom and he couldn't wait to use them to pull out that hair. But when Rowan took off his shirt, he could see it was too late for tweezers. Suddenly hair started sprouting all over Rowan's body, and before long he was practically covered in it. Spring. By now, Rowan was totally panicking. He went through his parents' bathroom cabinet to see if there was anything that might help, and he found something he thought would do the trick: hair remover. But there's a reason kids shouldn't go poking around in their parents' bathroom cabinets, because 2 seconds later, after Rowan opened the bottle, he passed out from the fumes. When Rowan woke up, he was in bed. At first he thought maybe the whole thing with the hair was just a bad dream, but one look at his arm told him it wasn't. Rowan's parents walked into the room and he was afraid they were going to be mad at him for opening the bottle of hair remover without asking, but they didn't look angry at all. In fact, they seemed kind of happy. Rowan's parents said they'd been waiting for this day for years and it was time for them to have a talk. Rowan thought they had already had the talk when his parents told him how the babies are made. But this is a totally different talk. His parents said that sometimes when a child turns into a certain age, their body starts to go into a changing. And that made Rowan sad because he liked himself just the way he is. By now, Rowan thought he knew why he was heading. He asked a question that has been in his mind all day. Am I becoming a man? Well, That made Rowan's parents laugh and laugh. And Rowan felt embarrassed because it took them a long time to stop laughing. Ha 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 ha! Look, Rowan looks a bit angry instead of embarrassed. Look, Rowan looks a bit angry instead of embarrassed. After Rowan's dad wiped the tears from his eyes, he said Rowan was still a boy, but he was a different kind of boy. And when Rowan asked what he meant, by that his dad gave him some bad news. You're a werewolf, son. That is definitely not what Rowan wanted to hear. But when Rowan's mother saw the worried look on her son's face, she said, this is the day to celebrate. Rowan's parents told him that he came from a long line of werewolves, and suddenly the pictures on the staircase wall made a lot more sense to Rowan. Everyone has faith. Look, here. Then Rowan's parents gave him some more bad news. They said they were both werewolves too. Rowan started remembering clues growing up that they should have been their parents were werewolves. But he guessed deep down he didn't want to admit the truth. Shave. Here, mother shaving the head. And then Rowan started crying. He said he just wanted to be a regular kid and have a normal life. But his parents said a werewolf could live a perfectly normal life as long as they kept on top of their grooming and hid who they really were from the rest of the world. So Ron didn't want to hide who he was, though he had always been taught to be yourself, and that's what he planned to do. But Ron's parents told him there are ignorant people in the world who don't like anyone who is different. And Rowan knew exactly the type of people his parents were talking about. Then Rowan asked his parents a question he wasn't sure he was ready to hear the answer to it. But don't werewolves eat people? Rowan's parents looked a little uncomfortable and they said that was a subject for another talk later on. But Rowan had the feeling he knew the answer to his question. The next day he brought his toys with him to recess. This time nobody dared to mess with him. Rowan's example inspired his parents to stop hiding who they were too. And from that day on, Rowan and his family lived as their true selves and everyone else just had to deal with it. Chapter 2. The Prankster. In a seaside village somewhere in Europe lived a man named Jasper, and everyone knew who Jasper was because he was the village prankster. Most of Jasper's friends were pretty harmless. One time he covered the baker's car in gift wrap, and another time he filled the village's only phone box with popcorn. Here. Sometimes Jasper would even play tricks on his own family members, and his mother never really forgave him for gluing all her furniture to the ceiling. But Jasper's most famous prank was the time he put the mare's underwear up a flagpole, which everyone thought was pretty hilarious. Well, everyone except the mare. Jasper! Here the town hall. Do you see on top of is the under? That was the thing about Jasper's pranks. Most people thought they were pretty hilarious unless they were the one being pranked. Splash! Anyway, one morning Jasper woke up trying to figure out what he was going to prank next. He couldn't decide if he wanted to toilet paper his next door neighbor's house or replace the baker's greenfield door with nuts with toothpaste. The toilet paper thing felt like a lot of work, and it had been a while since Jasper pranked Loris the baker, so he decided to go with the donut thing for the day. Jasper got out of bed and brushed his hair, and then headed up the hill, the bakery, and on the way there he passed two people he knew. He waved to Mariam the dressmaker and Mickey the cheesemonger. But neither of them waved back, but he figured they were still sore at him for covering their shop windows in mustard the week before. Then got stranger in dress walked into the bakery. His friend the shoemaker was walking out, and when Jasper said hello, Dieter ignored him. A few seconds later when Martha the library walked into my head before I get she walked past Jasper like she didn't even see him. And Martha went to the counter to buy her bread. Joris was distracted, and that's when Jasper made his move. He pulled the tube of toothpaste out of his pocket and grabbed the glass lid off the donut platter. Or at least he tried to, because Jasper reached for the lid. His hand went right through it. Jasper was so confused that he ran outside and onto the street. But what happened next upset him even more, because when he stood in front of the mirror shop, he didn't have a reflection. Jasper realized that no one could see or hear him, so and he made a complete fool of himself. And when he made a complete fool of himself, nobody noticed. Wookalookaloo! Even when Jasper barked into Mommy and Me yoga studio, everyone just kept doing that thing like he didn't exist. Yeah, ha, ha. Jasper tried talking himself into thinking this is a good thing, because if no one could see him, he could pull off some really epic pranks. See ya? Jasper's thinking. Just then a line of people walked past Jasper. There was Bram, his best friend, growing up, and his first school teacher, Mrs. Van Dijk. Everyone was dressed in black and looked really sad. Then Jasper saw his own mother at the back of the line, bawling her eyes out. Everyone was heading into the church. Jasper followed inside, and even though Jasper knew no one would see him, he felt a little undressed, so he sat in the back pew by himself. It didn't take long for Jasper to figure out that he was at a funeral, but he was pretty shocked when he realized who the funeral was for. The preacher said the guy who died was trying to take somebody's front yard and he got struck by lightning. And you probably already figured out that person was Jasper. Jasper knew the truth. He wasn't invisible all this time. He was dead. And he had to sit there while everyone came up in front of the church to say a few words. Usually at funerals, people say nice things about the person who died. But all anyone could talk about Jasper was Jasper's annoying pranks. For the first time ever, Jasper could see that sometimes. Hi guys, this book has 217 pages, so if you want to find out the rest of the book, buy it now. It's at Makeen's. It's on Makeen's Gar Road, Sri Lanka.